Every question you have ever typed into a chatbot is sitting on a server somewhere with your name attached to it, forever, ready to be sold, hacked, subpoenaed, or just quietly read. So somebody built the opposite. Not a company that promises to guard your data carefully, a company engineered so there is nothing to guard, nothing logged. Your conversations live in your browser and nowhere else. And that sounds like a slogan, right up until you see the receipts. In July, they raised $65 million at a $1 billion valuation. And on August 17th, their founder said they had crossed $100 million in annualized revenue. This is Venice. Quick thing, come build this with us. The Motion Room is our Discord. Daily announcements, hackathons, job openings, live charts, and early access, where every video drops before it goes public. Join, and you are in the newsletter channel too. One newsletter every Friday. Link below. So this came in from Douglas Quaid on our request board. I want to read you exactly what he wrote, because this whole video is me checking his sentence against the primary sources. Quote, Venice.ai is a decentralized, privacy-focused platform offering uncensored, open-source AI models without data logging, utilizing blockchain infrastructure and the SVVV token for direct access to computing power. Venice launched in May of 2024, and the founder is a name a lot of you know, Erik Voorhees. He started ShapeShift in 2014, and in 2021, he decentralized his own company into a DAO and airdropped it to its users. And his personal blog, right, is called Money and State. So when he launched Venice, the essay he published was titled The Separation of Mind and State. Same argument, one noun swapped. We separated religion from the state. The cypherpunks separated language from the state with encryption. Bitcoin separated money from the state. And then he asks the question the entire company hangs on. What of monopoly control over mind? To whom do we grant license over intelligence itself? At that point, Venice was him, a chief operating officer named Tiana Baker-Taylor, who had come out of HSBC and Circle and Binance, and a small team, 6 people total. So how do 6 people keep a promise that big? Here's the line that forced everything else. Voorhees wrote, "The only way to respect user privacy is to not violate it in the first place. If a company has your data, your privacy is already lost. Think about what that commits you to as an engineer. You cannot keep a copy. So Venice does not. Your history sits in your own browser, not on their servers. And the proof they mean it is the annoying part. Your Venice chats do not sync between your laptop and your phone because there is no server-side copy to sync from. The friction is the receipt. And credit where it is due. Most privacy companies publish only the flattering half. Venice said out loud that somebody with physical access to a GPU could intercept a plain text prompt. Their words, this is true. Their answer is that the prompt carries no identity and is purged the moment it is processed. Back in 2024, Voorhees said perfect privacy would need homomorphic encryption and that they would get there. In March of this year, they got there by a different road. Venice now runs 4 privacy modes and publishes the trade-offs right on its own site. Anonymous, where you reach Claude or GPT through Venice, and Venice tells you flat out to assume that provider stores your content. Private, the default, nothing retained, but you are trusting a contract. Then TEE, where your prompt runs inside a sealed hardware enclave on Intel and NVIDIA confidential computing chips, operated by 2 crypto-native partners, Near AI Cloud and Fala Network. And finally, end-to-end encrypted, where the prompt is locked on your machine and only opens inside that enclave. And the whole point is, you do not have to take their word for it. The enclave hands you a signed attestation report you can verify yourself. Right, the token. This is where it gets clever. January 27th, 2025, Venice launched SVVV on Base, 100 million at Genesis, half of it airdropped, no pre-sale, and, worth saying, because people assume otherwise, no governance. It was never a DAO token. Venice called it the first airdrop aimed at AI agents themselves. They even set a slice aside for Noose research. Now, the original deal was elegant. Stake 1% of the VVV, and you get 1% of Venice's API capacity every day without paying per request. Voorhees put it well. If you had to pay for every email you sent in the 90s, email never takes off. Same idea. If an agent has to meter every thought, it thinks less. But it had a flaw, and Venice said so themselves. Your share was a slice of a pool, so when other people staked, your slice shrank. You would wake up with less compute than the day before. Their phrase, no more your compute shrank today surprises. So in August of 2025, they fixed it. It is called DIEM, Latin for day. You stake VVV, you lock that staked position, and you mint DIEM. And one DIEM gives you $1 of Venice credit every single day, forever, refreshing at midnight UTC. It does not shrink when other people show up. You can sell it. A smart contract can hold it. Venice describes it as turning AI from a service you rent into an asset you own. How many exist? I pulled it off base this morning, 37,224, against a ceiling Venice keeps raising. And they keep tightening supply. Emissions started at 14 million a year, stepped down to 2 million by October, and every new subscription buys VVV and burns it. So back to Douglas Quaid's sentence. Most of it holds exactly, and two parts have quietly changed, and the changes are the most interesting part. He said uncensored open source models. That was exactly right at launch, when Venice served 2. I pulled their public catalog this morning, and there are now 327. 112 run in Venice's private lane, where nothing is retained. The other 215 are anonymized, and that is where Claude and GPT and Gemini live. So Venice today is not open weights only, but they label it. Every model carries its privacy mode right there on the page, so you always know which door you walked through. Then, decentralized. The compute underneath genuinely is spread across providers, but every request goes through one proxy Venice runs, and that proxy is closed source. I checked the contracts myself too. The token contract is about as plain as an ERC20 gets and cannot be upgraded, but the staking contract behind it can, by a 4 of 6 multisig. So the emission schedule is a policy 6 signers enforce, not a law the code enforces. And uncensored? Venice's own definition is narrower, and I think better than the marketing word. It means no restrictions added beyond whatever is already baked into the base model. They publish their system prompt, which basically nobody does. And they say plainly that no model is truly unbiased, because people made them. They are also not above the law. UK users have had to put a card on file since the Online Safety Act came in. But none of that is a gotcha. Venice published all of it first. So does it work? Here is the scoreboard. On July 1st, Venice raised a $65 million Series A, led by Dragonfly, at a $1 billion valuation. Coinbase Ventures is in it. So is F Prime, which is Fidelity's venture arm. Sit with that a second. Fidelity Money, in an explicitly uncensored, no-logging AI company. And it was the first outside capital Venice ever took, from a founder who said in 2024 that they had no need for external funding. Behind it, 3.5 million registered users, 1.3 trillion tokens processed every month, and profitable since the first quarter. And yesterday, August 17th, Voorhees posted that Venice had crossed $100 million in annualized revenue, up from about $70 million a month earlier. Company stated, not audited, but that is the number he put his name to. And here's the part that ties into everything else we cover. In April, Venice turned on X402, the payment standard Coinbase built, and the Linux Foundation now governs, which means an agent with a wallet on base can buy its own inference. No API key, no billing account, no human in the loop. It spends staked DIEM first, then falls through to USDC. So here is how I would place Venice. It is not really competing with the decentralized compute world we keep covering on this channel. It is a customer of it. Venice is the storefront, not the factory floor. And it turns out the storefront is where the revenue was. So, the takeaway. Venice's real innovation is not that they promise privacy. It is that they removed their own ability to break the promise, and then sold the day as an asset. 3 things you can go do, none of which cost anything. The free tier is real, 10 text prompts and 15 images a day. If you build, the API is OpenAI compatible, so it is a base URL swap. And if you break things for a living, their bug bounty pays in USDC or VVV. And the one I love, because it is the whole ethos in one command. Go call balance of on the 0 address for the VVV contract on base. Just under 34 million tokens, burned, sitting right there. You do not have to believe me. Go look. Douglas Quaid, thank you. If that was useful, hit subscribe. We do one of these every day, and the request board is how they get picked. Drop a comment with what you want next. Come join the Motion Room on Discord. Grab the free weekly newsletter, and the full written breakdown with every source link is in the description. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.